This is CTV News with Nafisa Karim.
I think that people are getting much more comfortable at responding to overdoses.
Tonight, a decrease in overdose deaths. While the numbers are moving in the right direction, there's still concern over supports.
Fell in love with it, fell in love with the simplicity of the story, and I thought, wow, this would be something that I would love to create a piece of artwork for.
A stunning piece of art unveiled. How long it took a Victoria artist to create a John Wick masterpiece. Plus, Adam finds out how a woman and a goat became unlikely colleagues. Later on the Sawatsky sign-off. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. It is a grim statistic. More than 1,800 people died in BC last year from illicit drug overdoses. While the coroner's service says that represents a profound loss of life, it is a 21% decrease from the year before. CTV's Anna McMillan reports on the nuance behind the numbers, which are particularly concerning in Campbell River.
These are areas that we see, are desperately needed in our community.
At the Umbrella Society in Victoria, the news that fewer people are dying from overdoses is not surprising.
The level of awareness has gone up. I think that people are getting much more comfortable at responding to overdoses.
In a new report, the BC Coroner Service says toxic drugs claimed roughly 1,800 lives in the province last year, down from 2,300 in 2024. It's the first time since 2020 that BC has had fewer than 2,000 overdose deaths within a year.
However, there are implications to somebody who still overdoses in brain injury and mental health concerns that have not been addressed.
Blake Anderson has worked in the addictions field for 8 years. During that time, he says harm reduction services have improved, but long-term recovery services have not.
We are keeping people alive, but we are not doing a good job at moving people along into their road to recovery.
The health minister says last year's budget invested more than $500 million in mental health and substance use care.
That continues to roll out this year. All of the programs that we're doing to help stem problems from rolling into something bigger for people, as well as delivering the harm reduction to keep people alive and connect people to care right through to the treatment and recovery.
The coroner's office says Greater Campbell River had the third highest death rate in BC at 89 per 100,000 people. 2 years ago in Campbell River, this memorial honored the disproportionate number of men who've died.
The numbers of people that are affected is far greater than what we're seeing in this memorial.
In a statement, Campbell River's mayor says council is doing everything within its role to press other levels of government for the supports the community urgently needs, including more recovery beds and second-stage housing.
It's a great example of when supports are not sufficient.
He's hopeful that's changing as politicians and the public hear more and more about the need for long-term bed-based services.
So I feel the pendulum is swinging. We're not there yet, but we're getting there.
Anna McMillan, CTV News, Victoria.
The NDP unveiled its budget this week, and one part of it has thousands of government workers on edge. The province plans to cut 15,000 full-time positions over the next 3 years through attrition, voluntary departures, and early retirements. 2,500 positions will be cut in the civil service, with another 12,500 being cut from public sector jobs such as Crown corporations, school districts, and health authorities. The president of the BC General Employees Union, which represents more than 95,000 employees, says the province hasn't provided the union with any details on when those cuts are coming, and that's raising concern.
There's a lot of anxiety in the public service, obviously. I think that's somewhat offset by the comments that the finance minister and the premier have made. Which is that they heard us during bargaining. They understand that there's not just in the civil service, but across the broader public sector, there was a massive overhiring in terms of these senior management positions, and we were able to show that empirically.
Finch says he understands that those senior management positions will be the first to go for the time being. One of Victoria's major hospitals is getting a big power boost as demand grows and new healthcare technology is added to the grid. Construction is set to begin this summer on a new energy center at Victoria General. The system will help strengthen the power grid, allowing for expansion of services and keep the hospital functional during power outages, earthquakes, or flooding. Island Health says the current system is already close to capacity, nearing the end of its lifespan, and that modern medical equipment is creating new demands.
Some of the new CTs and MRIs are consuming a little bit more power, and just new technology. We plan to increase the cooling capacity once new energy centers in place. And also will give us the ability to switch from fossil fuels to more electrification and heat recovery, helping reduce our GHG emission output.
The nearly $76 million project is being jointly funded by the province of BC through Island Health and the Capital Regional Hospital District. The project is expected to be complete by 2029. A big jump in gas prices today, but experts say it should be short-lived. Gas in Victoria today is around $1.81. According to AffordableEnergy.ca, that is up about 8 cents overnight for regular gas. Analyst Dan Tague says the maintenance of the BP Olympic pipeline is what's driving the surge.
It does tend to have a rather significant impact on consumers. That's the bad news. The good news is it doesn't last forever, usually about a week. So if you weren't able to take advantage of yesterday's prices, usually by this time next week, we will see those prices scale back to where they were.
Global conflict could derail a bounce back, specifically conflicts in Iran, which could cause the price of oil to go up significantly. Commuters in the capital take note. Come Monday, there will be more congestion on the roads, although this time it's through View Royal. BC Hydro will be making upgrades to some underground transmission infrastructure along the 200 block of the Island Highway between Stewart Avenue and Plowright Drive. The project is expected to take 14 days and will see the closure of the eastbound lane. Drivers will be detoured up Helmkin Road towards Highway 1. Access to local businesses and street parking will also remain available. Well, a unique piece of art merging construction materials and pop culture is being unveiled this weekend. It's a portrait of Keanu Reeves as his character John Wick. It's by Victoria artist and businessman Neil Tran and features 11,111 individually placed roofing nails on a wood frame canvas. Each nail is positioned at a varying depth to create dimensional depth and shadow.
When you look at the piece, I think a lot of people might see, like, let's say a painting or a piece of artwork or whatever. I would say more than 70% of the work, of the time invested in creating the piece, is all technical. So understanding the size, figuring out how I would lay out 11,111 nails.
The work will permanently live at the entrance of Leap XD's studio office, a creative studio in downtown Victoria. Tuesday will mark the 4-year anniversary of the war in Ukraine. Here in Victoria, a march and rally is planned at the BC Legislature on Sunday. Community members are being asked to gather near the Johnson Street Bridge for a walk toward the Legislature grounds beginning at noon, followed by a rally. There will be a minute of silence to honor Ukraine's fallen heroes, plus songs, poems, and speakers telling their experiences in that country during the early days of the war. It's a way to come out and show your support for the people of Ukraine.
So again, a very sad date for us. Everything just happened like yesterday, but the war is still there, and this gathering, it holds great significance for our community to remember, to stand united, and to reaffirm that Ukraine is not alone. And just a reminder for everyone that there is still war going on.
The president of the Ukrainian Canadian Cultural Society says the event will also be a way to thank Canadians for all of their support over the past 4 years of war.
Temperature-wise right now, 3 degrees as we look out towards the water. As far as the forecast, it's going to vary throughout the island. Some areas could see some snow tonight. Some areas could see some very strong winds tomorrow and some rain as well. I will break it down after commercial.
CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Explore the endless possibilities at one of our 36 BC locations. Learn more at expediacruises.ca.
What makes West Shore Parks and Recreation a perfect place to play? It's our staff, working behind the scenes to keep the pool safe, kids engaged, and programs thriving. So apply today and join our team.
Corey joins us now with the forecast. We are on the doorstep of the weekend, but the sun is gone.
That's right, and it's not coming back for a while. It's going to be fairly wet and maybe even in some cases snowy. There's a snowfall warning that I'm going to talk about shortly, but first taking a look at the current conditions. Temperatures anywhere from about 1 to 3 degrees, so a bit on the cool side. And we've been seeing winds pick up right now, 31 km/h winds in Comox, 37 in Port Hardy. Those are sustained winds, wind gusts 40 to 50, so the winds starting to pick up, and they're going to be sticking around as we go throughout the rest of the evening and into tomorrow. Now, there's a snowfall warning in place, Comox, Campbell River, 5 to 10 centimeters tonight into tomorrow morning. Some of it wet snow as well, and then it will turn to rain as we go throughout Saturday. But we could see a little bit of accumulation. It could create some very slick conditions, maybe even some reduced visibility as well. So just be mindful of that. That's tonight into the early morning hours and then turning to rain. As we can see right now, we are seeing some snow in those areas already. Tofino seeing some rain. As we take a look at the futurecast, maybe over exaggerating things a little bit, but just showing us where we could be seeing a bit more of the snow as we go throughout the evening and overnight period. Higher elevations as well, but along the coastlines, we'll be seeing some rain and showers. And then for tomorrow, northern areas of the island get a little bit of a break in the morning, but then it starts to move back in, and that'll be the case for the island as well. Victoria, though, as we go throughout the early part of the day, some sun breaking through, but then rain and showers as we continue into the forecast. Let's take a look at the North Island. Windy tomorrow, chance of scattered showers and rain for Sunday. Temperatures climbing, but it's going to be wet as we go throughout the extended forecast, even into the mid part of next week. It still looks like rain. As we take a look at the inland areas, periods of snow, then rain as we go throughout early Saturday. More rain on Sunday. Some of these areas about 15 to 25 millimeters of rain. And then a little bit of an easing for Monday, but then it does pick up again for Tuesday. Temperatures rising as well. For the West Coast, windy as we go throughout Saturday. Periods of rain. 10 degrees on Sunday, but it's going to be a wet day, and then a chance of showers as we head into the beginning of next week with more rain come Wednesday. As we take a look at Comox, could see about 10 to 15 millimeters again overnight. The snowfall warning is in place, 5 to 10 centimeters, turning to rain about 10 to 15 millimeters, and windy. The wind sticks around for Sunday with a chance of showers. We see a chance of showers and rain as we head into next week. As we take a look at Nanaimo, periods of rain, a little bit breezy. The wind's not as strong, just a bit of a breeze as we go throughout Saturday. Showers Sunday, and then we could see some rain as we go throughout next week. As far as Victoria, 9 for a high. We might see a little bit of sun breakthrough, becoming windy. Showers later into the day, and it looks like rain as we go throughout the extended forecast as well. CTV weather is brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations.
A very February forecast. Thanks, Corey.
Yes.
Well, the U.S. Supreme Court has struck down Donald Trump's global tariffs, dealing a stunning political and economic blow to the president and his agenda, with far-reaching implications for many countries, including Canada. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed.
The American president says he's deeply disappointed in the U.S. Supreme Court decision striking down so-called IEEPA or fentanyl tariffs. He then, as many predicted, announced new ones.
Today I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122, over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country.
President Trump has famously said his favorite word is tariff. And so I don't think they're going to simply walk away.
IEEPA tariffs collected an estimated $240 billion. The Supreme Court decision did not address refunds, while one dissenting opinion noted handling them would be a mess.
Unraveling that and securing refunds is going to be messy. but that's certainly going to be a key issue that Canadian businesses are going to be focused on.
While steel and aluminum, automotive and lumber tariffs remain in place. Yet the vast majority of Canadian goods were exempt from IEEPA tariffs anyway due to CUSMA, the free trade deal that's up for review.
With these midterms, with a shifting political climate in the United States, with the inability of Congress to just follow him at a command, all of those things add up to a situation where I think it is more likely that he's actually going to engage on CUSMA than attempt to burn it to the ground.
The lead minister on the Canada-U.S. file said in a statement the court decision reinforces Canada's position that IEEPA tariffs are unjustified, but, quote, critical work lies ahead to fight for businesses still impacted by tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Meanwhile, UFO enthusiasts are over the moon with Trump, who has ordered the Pentagon and other government agencies to release files related to alien life. It comes after former U.S. President Barack Obama weighed in on the subject of aliens. Here's CTV's John Rao.
My gosh. American Navy pilots have spotted them. Look at that thing. Strange objects flying in unusual ways. But now the U.S. president vowing to release whatever his government knows about UFOs and aliens. But is Donald Trump a believer?
I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it.
Trump directing America's Department of War and other agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life. That includes UFOs, which these days are called unidentified aerial phenomena.
A lot of UFO fans are really excited that this is it. This is what we've been waiting for. This is Christmas. We're going to be getting all the files.
There's some. It all comes after former U.S. President Barack Obama appeared on a podcast and offered a surprising answer to this question.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51.
His statement that they're real led to so much buzz online, Obama later clarified, writing, statistically, the universe is so vast that the odds are good there's life out there, adding, I saw no evidence during my presidency that extraterrestrials have made contact with us, really. Still, Trump accused Obama of revealing classified information. In 2024, the U.S. Pentagon said there was no evidence alien life had ever been encountered, but added there were sightings that needed further investigation. Still, of Trump's latest directive, some think he's just using it to deflect attention.
Some people had said already that this was going to be a distraction from some other files that he doesn't want to release. So maybe we'll get something, but I'm not holding my breath quite yet.
Meanwhile, Trump did not set any kind of a deadline for the release of information. John Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
Truth is out there. Well, coming up, cute coworker. Adam finds out how an unexpected past turned a woman and a goat into unlikely colleagues. Next on the Sawatsky Sign-Off.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Finally, Adam finds out the story behind an unexpected pair of co-workers at Victoria's Beacon Hill Children's Farm on the Sawatsky Sign-Off.
There's always something to do, Claudia says, when you work on a farm.
No matter what day, early hours, long days. And a big belly.
Being manager means caring for a community of animals that includes this big pig and those 9 adolescent goats.
Right, normal farm life, cleaning up.
But in the off-season, when there are no children visiting, you'll find one kid working.
I do have a little 4-legged helper. Her name is Rosie, which is short for Rosemary.
Rosie, who begins this work day with a request for a rest.
The chair is my chair to have my coffee break.
What the goat lacks in work ethic, she makes up for with enthusiasm.
It's just, it makes things happier and easier having her by my side.
Wherever Claudia goes, Rosie follows. Whatever Claudia does, Rosie watches. And like co-workers do, throughout the day, they carry on conversations.
Then I go and I come back and I'm back, okay. And when I take too long to come down, where are you?
You see, they've known each other since Rosie was born.
Rosie lost her goat mom, her real mom, when she was 2 days old.
And seeing as there was no hope of Rosie's survival without a mom, Claudia brought the baby home. After months of bottle feeding, couch cuddling, and diaper wearing, Rosie started flourishing.
Good. It transformed me a bit into a mom.
A mom who comforted her when she struggled to connect with her peers. A mom who encouraged her while she learned to act like the other goats. A mom who celebrated when she finally made her first best friend.
It came into my life to just make it more perfect, more full. I want to see?
And made these moments, when mother and daughter turned co-workers finally take their well-earned coffee break, even more wonderful.
It's the joy of my life at the moment, honestly.
Adam Swatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
The Sawatsky Sign-Off, brought to you by Coastal Community Credit Union. Bank happy at Coastal Community Credit Union.
Rosie, what a story to end the week on. That is it for CTV News Vancouver Island. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night.